Hello everyone, welcome to British Business with Matt Holland. I am joined again today with my recurring co-host, Charlie Smith. How are you, Charles?
I'm well, Matthew, thank you. How are you today?
Very, very well.
Whose loft are you in?
Whose loft? I'm in my mate Jackie's loft. No, I'm in my mate Jackie's flat, which I think is a converted loft space. It's a pretty nice setup. I'm not going to give you a tour, but...
Are you local? Are you still northern?
No, I'm in the Netherlands, actually. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times on the podcast where I just try and, I think on my goals, actually. You know how you set goals every year?
Yeah.
One of my goals this year, there was 2 goals that were linked to travel, one of which was to spend 40 nights away with the family and kids away from the farm and the business, because the business is on the farm. And then the other thing is I wanted to have 2 full weeks away on my own with no kids and wife in the Netherlands and treat it as a bit of a working week, which I have done so far, but just to change the scenery. So,
and how's that working out then? Because we're Wednesday today, so you've been there a few days?
Yeah. So arrived on Sunday. It was nice blue skies. So Jackie's got quite a nice apartment here that he's just bought recently, and roof terrace is beautiful. It kind of looks out on different bits of Amsterdam. Blue skies, and then it's been raining since. So got a few runs in. I've run every day so far. I'm going to hopefully get a 2-hour run in after this. And then I've just worked. I've worked during the day. We've been going to this like sauna that looks over the the harbour area every morning. So far, we didn't go this morning because we were out till like midnight last night. Went to like a Michelin-starred restaurant, which was pretty cool. Expensive though, but Jackie paid.
Oh, so bless him. But
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go.
It's got to be your round soon. How do you find working abroad then, mate? What is it? What's that like? Have you been super hyper focused or?
I find it so it's really interesting one for me. I find it productive.
Yep.
I think I'm a very detail orientated individual, so I like to know what's going on in the business. So I think like if I put my cards on the table, I find it hard sometimes, like knowing that there's kind of things going on and I've not got visibility of it or whatever. So that it's a challenge for me to maybe let go a little bit. But I think it's good for ideation and also just a bit of a decompression. But I'd say I'm pretty productive. I'm not working like 8-hour days. I'm just doing like 4 or 5 hours, just boxing stuff off really. But yeah, it's been good so far.
Nice.
I'm here till Sunday, so I'm here for a week. So
nice, mate. Love it.
Good. And where are you?
I'm at home. So there's a reason I asked really, because I'm useless at working from home, if I'm honest.
Right.
I feel like sleepy and tired and deflated, and I don't feel like I really get that oomph of just getting out the door. So we're filming this during the day today, though, aren't we? So I don't think it would be very good for me to be in the office when there's all that noise of an embroidery machine and needles going left, right, and centre for us to try and record a podcast. So instead, I'm in my echoey kitchen.
I'm just conscious my mic might be picking up on. To make a little adjustment here. One sec, guys.
Ooh.
Go on, Charlie. Talk away.
We can't, mate. You wouldn't be able to hear us over that rustle.
Was it bad?
That's better.
Is that better? There we go.
Was it just doing it? Just getting caught in your beard?
It's getting caught in like... Yeah, anyway. I think that'll be fine now.
Yeah, well, right, I reckon.
That must have been entertaining for some people. Out running or walking or driving. It's like, fucking hell, being in a washing machine. Yeah, so today's episode, mate. Well, actually, just on home working, that's an interesting one. I mean, I'll just comment on that briefly, but I do find that difficult as well. And my business is located on where I live, so I get it. I think it comes with pros and cons. It's not easy, but I think you can have a productive time at home.
Yeah,
I think it works both ways. Jackie's entering the frame. Wave, Jackie. Bless him, I've taken over his flat. So today's episode.
Yep.
Do you know what we're talking about?
Nope.
Oh, how are you anyway? Is there anything that's bothering you?
Loads of things bother me, mate. Loads of things bother me. Where do you want me to start? Do you want me to rant for the next 35 minutes, or do we want to just...
No, I think we need to stay on topic, but I did actually listen to last week's episode, and I thought it was quite a good episode, just from like a general catch-up perspective, so we don't necessarily need to go over all that again. But I know you get frustrated, so just it's your opportunity. This is the therapy moment. So
well, first of all, I get frustrated with people's timekeeping, Matthew. So, one thing, when you're running a business, you're making appointments, you're booking in calls with customers, and you got to try and make sure you're there on time when you need to, because ultimately the day needs to run as smoothly as it can. So when someone says to me at 11:30, we're going to start filming a podcast, and we still haven't heard from you at 11:45, it makes things slightly difficult, doesn't it? I've got through 2 packs of quavers in that time.
Was that it? You need to up your game on your quaver.
Well, that's what I was eating just because out of pure worry and anxiety that you weren't on time, and I was like, this is going to really mess up my really busy day.
I'll be honest with you, I do struggle with timekeeping. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good if I'm working from a local. Actually, I'm obviously.
You got ADHD brain, mate, haven't you? That's the trouble. Is you go from one thing to the other, and you're just like, right, got to sort this out now. Got to sort that out. Got to sort this out. Oh my god, this has just popped up. I'm gonna have to look at this now. Bang. That's what you are. Fire. It's like a firecracker, waiting to go off all the time.
I do find that difficult. Yeah, it's not easy. Not easy at all. So, see you later, Jackie. Love you. He's laughing. He's a busy bee, bless him. Jackie's very busy. He's got lots going on. He's a proper hustler.
Is he? I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. That's the fun bits, isn't it?
That's why I like coming seeing him as well, because he's very driven and motivated. So
gives you energy.
He wants to get stuff done. He doesn't want to kind of settle down and maintain the status quo. He's a driven individual. When I first met him a few years ago, he was going on a career transition, and he moved from being a recruiter to being a software engineer, which is a very different skill set, obviously. But he, got a lot of time for the guy.
Good.
Anyway, so this week's episode, we're going to talk about commercial property and why it's a problem in the UK at the moment. And this is something that both of us have, I think, challenges with. Mine is, I'll say, what should we do? Fact of the week first.
Go for it.
I'll tell you what my challenge is, and you can share your challenge.
Go for it.
We can talk about it. So British business fact of the week. UK warehouse, because I focus it on warehousing just because I think that's relevant to us and our businesses, so we can comment on that. So UK warehouse vacancy rates have fallen below 3% in recent years. So if you had 100 warehouses in the UK, there's only 3 that are vacant.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Far below the 8 to 10% level typically considered healthy in a balanced market. So obviously, that's not good if you are a growing business and you need to move from a smaller warehouse to a bigger warehouse. I suppose it's a little bit like housing supply. So where the market doesn't have a constant supply and flow of vacant opportunities, it means that the market moves slower and things are more expensive and potentially overpriced. Rents can increase rapidly because demand kind of basically far outweighs supply. You've got planning restrictions, development pipelines. There's just all kinds of different challenges, I would say.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. But I think with housing, there's a lot of there would be supply at the smaller end from a capacity space point of view. There would be some at smaller, then there'd be middle, then there'd be larger, etc., wouldn't there? But at the moment, I think particularly around our way, there's very small and then there's very big, and that jump in the middle is not catered for well enough. I don't think there isn't that supply. But then if local councils and authorities are like anything like they are in Wiltshire, is that actually the plan to build new ones in and around 2,000 to 4,000 square foot of mixed commercial space. The plans for that is pretty poor over the next 5 to 10 years. So you've got a lot of businesses that are stuck between maybe working out of a garage or a small yard, or they've got a little shipping container or something around that mark. But then going to that next level, there isn't a lot in that sort of 1,500 to 2,000 square foot for people to then move into. And it's something that we found quite difficult, I must admit.
Or to start businesses.
Or to start them in the first place, yeah.
Yeah.
If the only thing that you've got available to you is a 4,000 square foot warehouse and you want to start it, well, you know, all the best to you with your rates and your oh my God, your rent. You know, getting that off the ground, utilities,
all the rest of it,
just trying to run a place like that straight off the bat, off the ground. Oh, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
I mean, I can think like straight off the bat of things that slow the economy down. I would say if you are thinking of setting up a business like small industrial space in general, like 1,000 square foot, 500 square foot, that kind of stuff for like workshops or like garages. And then like yarded space. I think yarded space is something that people don't consider when you think about construction businesses, where they need to store vehicles, which is secure. They need to store secure machinery, things like that.
That's like gold dust to that, mate.
Yarded space is like, I think that's even worse than like warehouse space. There's nothing, absolutely zero. So that means that like those types of businesses, like where do they end up storing? And they get pushed out onto farms and things like this, which are then there's access issues. You've got the carbon footprint of them going to and from the location, which is less central. So yeah, it's a major problem. I mean, just to kind of hone it in on the questions that I've kind of made notes on, have you, maybe if you could just talk about the challenges that you've experienced within your business right now, maybe now, but also because you've got obviously a warehouse space.
Ours is just under 2,000 square feet at the moment. So it's made up of 1,200 on the bottom floor with warehouse rolling door, which is where we do all our production, keep our stock, etc. And then we've got a mez floor, which is 650 foot. And then before that, we were operating in 1,100.
Yeah, and your last place was more like, I would describe it as like office style.
Yeah, it was. So it was a top and a bottom floor. And then downstairs was a very small warehouse. So they classify it as like mixed commercial use. But it was tiny. A lot of the footprint was made up by the foyer and the toilet and the staircase leading up to the second floor, etc., etc. So all in all, it didn't really function well enough for us as a production house, and we needed to move forward. But we were faced with that little sticky position where it's like, okay, so we currently pay X for just shy of 1,200 square feet. We need to increase that. Well, actually, there's nothing in the 2,500 square foot warehouse space for us to move into that keeps us local and keeps us in and around our customers. And it was always quite a big fear for us of moving from the location where we'd been for the last 12 to 15 years when my dad was running the business. It was like, do people just come to us because of where we're positioned? We're on the main trading estate in Salisbury. So it was like, oh, what happens if we do move it? Well, in the end, we thought, right, fuck it. We can't do anything but move. So we got a shout on a pretty new industrial estate. It's probably been less than 5 years, as part of a housing development, so private housing development, just on the outskirts of Salisbury, not far, to be honest with you, from where we were previously. Probably only talking about a couple of miles as the crow flies. And we decided to go for it. So we moved into a new space, which was 2,000 square feet. And now we're in a position 2 years later where it's not enough.
Yeah, and this is the problem that I think businesses have is they, first of all, the supply is an issue, but then, and it's like that initial kind of challenge of finding somewhere that's like, but then when you come to outgrow it, then you're then sat in a lease. So if you kind of then have this like problem where you don't want to grow anymore because you're at capacity, but you need to keep the momentum going with the business so you can then afford that bigger commercial property if you're going to vacate and move to another one. You've got the whole dilapidations thing, which maybe we'll touch on in a little bit. But yeah, from my experience, I suppose it's similar. Like we, as a family business, like going back over the years, like obviously when I first joined the business, I was an employee originally. And I think you've expressed a bit of interest in maybe interviewing me, which I think could be quite a good thing for me to talk about. But if we go back to that, like I was packing the parcels on my grandma's kitchen table for years, probably 3 years, I would say, early on. And we had an agricultural barn on the farm that had been used for mixed business use over the years, but it was like corrugated sheets. It was not really kind of like the best conditions for storing stock. It didn't have a concrete floor; it had a dirt floor. So that was a big, significant advantage that we had. It was like originally it was probably like maybe 1,700 square foot, and we stayed there up until 2021. So my first 7 years in the business, and then I moved us off the farm to Wythenshawe to a much bigger unit, 7,000 square foot, which is probably a little bit too big, too big for us. We did cash flow projections. It could work. It looked like it was going to work. It was fine, but then it was contingent on like us maintaining the same gross profit, the same net profit, and also the same forward momentum in revenue. Like not big growth, but steady growth. And we just had a couple of challenges, and it worked out that it was too expensive. So we had to move back to the family farm, so that smaller unit. And we've been there the last few years. We've extended it a little bit, and we're using storage containers, but we're bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
But this time, this is the key change: is we don't want to rent again because that unit down in Wythenshawe is rented. We want to buy. So I've been looking basically since we moved back to the farm somewhere to buy. I've had my ear to the ground looking, and it's
so hard, isn't it?
It's hard, yeah. We've seen a few different properties, a few different things that we could have bought. We're in a good position, but it's working out what is the right thing to buy.
Yeah.
Because I looked at one and it was like this proper old, I would say, not a Victoria. I've looked at Victorian mills as well because obviously we're in the north. There was actual real work done in this country in the north, unlike the south. So there's all these like Victorian industrial kind of mill buildings, and the problem with them is that the repair and maintenance costs, and a lot of them need new roofs. It's just like fuck.
It's a lot. It's a lot of things to consider.
Taking on a big project. So there was this one where it was a freehold property, but it was a floating freehold where you had the freehold for one floor of the mill, but then there was a owner occupier underneath. And then you had the roof above, and you had to work with them on maintaining the building, and it was in a semi-state of disrepair. So I was like, that ain't ideal. So it's just complicated.
Excuse me. No, I totally agree, mate. And I think this is if you're talking from like an overhead perspective, this is the one thing I think that is, it's not the one thing, it's not the only thing, but it's a pretty massive thing that can absolutely make or break you. And there's not actually ever a perfect scenario, because take what you're saying, for example, we could have done the same thing. I think the reality is with machinery, with stock, etc., we could have really done with just going, right, sod it. We need something that's like 4,000 square foot plus. But that goes wrong in the first 12 months, and you've signed a lease for 5 years on something that's going to cost you, I don't know, round our way, what would that cost you? Maybe 40 grand a year, I suspect, before your rates.
What square footage, sorry?
If anywhere between 4 and 6, I think you'd be looking at that upwards. Probably 35 upwards.
Yeah.
Plus your rates and stuff. You're talking from going from like quite a micro business to you think you're onto a good thing and you think you can get some growth, but actually the number at the end of it, should you have some sort of issue of trying to find that money, that's the one that can break you because you're in the lease. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not one of those overheads that can fluctuate, that you can control, that you can, squeeze if you need to. It is there, and it comes up every 3 months, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just coming, and someone wants their money for their rental. So it's really, really difficult to get that right. And we're in a position now where we want a little bit more space, and then we've got the added problem of already having one and needing a second.
Yeah, because it's two separate things we're talking about. We're talking about the rental market, and we're talking about the freehold market.
But both have their challenges, don't they? One, you can't find one, and second of all, you can't find them. But if you do go too crazy, you kind of shoehorn yourself into a potential issue, don't you? It's just hard. It's a hard thing to get right.
We're looking at one to buy at the moment, and it looks like a good warehouse. My solicitors looked at all the freehold titles for it because it's not straightforward, which they often aren't on these industrial estates that have been around for a while. And it's like, fucking hell, you've got to take a view on this, take a view on that. And yeah, there's not many big square boxes that are straightforward, unfortunately, or valued in a fair way. And then you've got the capital expenditure, you've got the fucking stamp duty, because obviously the government want a cut of the transaction because they're like, oh, look, you must be making money. We'll have some more money off you. Thank you very much. So they want the 5% or whatever it is on the
they're definitely not valued in the right way either. I mean, some of the numbers that agents pluck up round here. I mean, I won't name names, but I just think, how have you come to that? How do you get to that calculation? And I think quite often it's just just plucking it out the air, and they often come back to you and say, well, there's nothing else around. It's like this, thinking, well, no, I know there's not. That's half the problem as well.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to the rental market, like for businesses that are thinking of trying to obtain space, it's a nightmare. But I think things to look out for from my experience and your experience, I mean, I'll just start us off, but like if you're looking at leases, you need a solicitor, in my opinion. I think you're very silly to sign a lease without a solicitor having looked at it.
Why are you looking at me for that? You're looking at me and chuckling. Is that because of a conversation we've had previously?
No comment. But basically, my view is that you need to have some form of legal counsel because landlords are like they're business owners at the end of the day. They're going to protect their interests, so they want to get clauses in there that if you aren't a good tenant, they can get you out legally easily. And you as a tenant, like sometimes things are hard, so you might miss a rent payment, so you want a bit of protection. So if the landlord is writing the lease, it's going to be written to their standards and there'll be little covenants inserted in there. And this was the case in leases that I've signed in the past where it's like, oh, if you do this, it's a breach of the lease. And then the terms of the breach within the lease documents is like, it's very easy to get you out. So basically, if they get, because what can happen in commercial properties is you might have a row of units and say 3 of the units are untenanted, all owned by the same landlord, but 1 is tenanted to a business that's been trading there a couple of years. So then what the agent will do is they'll be advertising the other 3 units, but some big firm will come along, maybe like DHL or someone like that, and they will go, well, we want all 4. We want the full space here. So you need to get that tenant out. So then what they'll do is they'll look at the lease documents and they'll act in a, not a malicious way, but they'll watch you. And then when you breach the lease, they will get you out. So because they can get all 4 units like that. So
fortunately, I haven't experienced that yet.
I've heard some pretty horrible stories from business owners in similar situations, and like landlords are not to be trusted at all.
And that's where we get that with the suggestion at the moment to sign. I mean, we've done it a couple of times, but you sign outside of the Landlord and Tenant Act, right?
Yeah, and I'll come to that in a second. But then to flip it on its head, these landlords are business owners.
Yeah, absolutely.
My view is that they should be profitable and they should be getting a decent yield on their investment because more often than not, or quite a lot of the time, and these days, a lot of warehousing where I am, so the South Manchester area near the airport, Oldham, these kind of areas, they're owned by pension funds. So that's very common, or offshore. So the unit that I signed in Wythenshawe was owned by a firm based in Luxembourg.
Oh, that's handy, isn't it?
And then while I was in there, that firm was bought by another private equity firm that was based somewhere else. So it's just, and they just sell the unit with the tenant in, and it's like, and so it's a fascinating sector, really. But the short of it is supply and demand. Landlord benefits because the prices are high. The landlord should make money, but I think it's quite a profitable industry to invest in. Although, if you have this is just a viewpoint, if you have like one big warehouse in your portfolio, well, then you're exposed from a risk perspective. So what you tend to see is if they've got multiple units, they'll have lots of units of smaller size, or they won't have one big one.
Yeah, to dilute it.
Yeah, but dilute the risk. Yeah, but the interesting one is the Landlord and Tenant Act, which people might not be aware of, but I think I can't remember the date of it, but it's like clause 2 or something. And what landlords do is that act was brought in to protect commercial business tenancies. So they brought in a load of legislation to protect, on a statutory basis, to protect business tenancies. So landlords couldn't just kick you out at short notice and couldn't do the things that I've kind of described. So what the landlords do now is at the heads of terms stage, they will stipulate that the lease is going to sit outside of clause 2, the 19XX Landlord and Tenant Act, which was an act that passed through Parliament. And then what you have to do as a company director is you have to sign a statutory declaration giving away your legal rights of the Landlord and Tenant Act.
We've been there.
Which is it's most commercial leases now. So the government have brought in legislation, and then the landlords get around it. And
it's hard. But what do you do? What do you do if you want some space to operate your business and you don't have a choice? You don't have a choice.
So you don't have a choice. So because of all this, I could not recommend it more. Spend the money and get a good solicitor.
That's ridiculous as well, by the way. That's another rant altogether. That one is.
But I mean, if you're looking down, if you're looking to rent an area and the cost of leasing it is X, and then you've got the landlord's deposit, because a lot of them want deposit. I mean, if you're in a good position as a business, you might be able to get no deposit and maybe a rent-free period. And I think the flip side of this is that because of the economics, and so there's like a warehouse shortage in the UK, but then because the economy's flat, some are starting to move a bit slower. So I think there are deals out there actually, but I think this kind of like people view legal costs as like a waste of money or just like a ridiculous cost, but it can save you so much money.
I get that. But there's good money and then there's stupid money, isn't there, at the end of the day? And I'm not being funny, but lots of them are asking for stupid money for what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I'm fresh off a quote, so I'm feeling it's raw right now.
But let's think about it from a perspective of embroidery, like for example. So there's different people that offer embroidery in and around the Salisbury area, I would imagine, and there'll be certain people that can do it really good price, dirt cheap. Yeah, and there's some people at the middle market and some people at the premium. And
absolutely, yeah,
ultimately,
I get
that. You pay what you get for. So if you're going to pay £500 to a solicitor to help you through a commercial lease, well, it's probably going to be Fred, who ain't that great. He ain't a partner. You're paying for an associate. So my view is you get what you pay for.
The associates are good these days, mate. I might take my law degree and have a go at it myself.
Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe based on last week's episode, you should get out of the kitchen and move to that, because that seems like
no. God, looking at documents every day of your life, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, that'd be a miserable existence.
And that's no disrespect to anyone that does that. It's completely up to you guys what you do, and you've all vital cogs in this economic wheel. But I don't know. It's just not for me, mate.
Well,
it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. So for context, Charlie did law at uni, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to go at it. Yeah.
It's interesting that. But going back to like renting from your perspective, like, do you have aspirations to buy at some point?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's probably unrealistic for us to think that we can scrape together enough money for a deposit, etc., and then decide to go and purchase something at the moment. Plus, like you said before, the supply is a challenging one. It really is a challenging one, but it's definitely something I think we aspire to do. I think that's the way to do it. It's like is almost get yourself like an owner-operated commercial building, which would be really, really nice, dreamland, really, to be honest with you. But I think realistically, that's a little way off for us.
It's the capital that's the problem.
Oh, it is, yeah.
For a lot of businesses. So, like, I've been looking at. I mean, like I've said to you, we're in a fortunate position. We're ready to now buy something, but for years, like I've looked at it and gone, just not possible, because, like, if I'm looking at, say, because I've looked at loads of warehouses in the last couple of years, but if I'm looking at something that's maybe, I don't know, call it 10,000 square foot, and it's £1 million. Well, you've got £1 million. So, what do you think is the required deposit for £1 million commercial warehouse?
Probably in the region like 30 or 40%.
Yeah, exactly. So 65% lend to value, 35% deposit. Yeah. So you've got to find 350 grand.
Just sat there doing nothing.
Excess cash.
Before your stamp duty, before your legal fees.
Yeah. So 350 grand deposit probably, and then another 50 grand on top of stamp duty and bullshit and legals, and then also the other way, because the banks love this. So what they do is you agree terms, you get it sanctioned, and then what it goes to, you've got to then have a valuation report done for the bank, which you pay for, which is for them. So that's £2,500, £2,000. Then on top of that, you have to pay their solicitors' fees. So they're making money on the mortgage.
Yep.
But you've got to pay their legal fees, which
Yep.
they give you a few options, 2 or 3 options, but typically $3,000, $3,500.
Yep.
For them to do their bit of the commercial, the transaction. So best part of like 7 or 8 grand there. Then, if you want to do your own due diligence, you've got your own. Well, you need your own solicitor anyway to do the conveyancing, and commercial conveyancing is way more expensive than residential conveyancing and more detailed and all the rest of it. But then, do you want to do building surveys? Do you want to do X? Do you want to do Y? Like the unit we're looking at buying, we're thinking about having a roof survey done with a drone to check the quality of the roof, and then do we have drainage surveys? Like, and this is before you've signed anything. So if it aborts during legals, your best part of 30 grand down the drain.
That's mad, that is. That's ridiculous, isn't it? That is ridiculous. Again, it goes back to my thing last week, doesn't it? Why do we bother? Why does anyone bother?
Well, because it's good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, all great fun.
Yeah,
wonderful.
So you've got to do all that before the. This is the method. So the bank solicitors that you're paying for and your solicitor that you're paying for have reviewed all the titles and agreed, oh yeah, this is okay. We can sanction this finally and we can do the drawdown. And while you're doing all that, you've got to run your business and keep it profitable and all the rest of it.
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
Who would do it, mate? Who would do it?
Yeah, but going back to it. So how do you find the capital to buy something like that?
Oh, I don't know. You're asking the wrong bloke here, don't you? You're asking the wrong bloke.
And then on top of all this, you've got to sign PGs.
Yeah. So if it all goes tits up, they'll have everything else off you as well.
Yeah. So if we can't sell the warehouse, if we need to reclaim,
we'll literally have the shirt off your back.
Yeah, we'll have your car that you drive the kids to school in. We'll have it all.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously next month, mate. So we're recording this on the 11th of March. This time next month, extra 2% on your dividend thresholds.
Yeah.
Are you excited for that, mate?
I'm excited for it all. Excited for it all.
Oh dear. So, obviously, I think most people listening are probably in the market for renting. There'll be a few people that are thinking about maybe buying commercial property, but I think realistically, it takes time to build that deposit. Yeah. You've got the whole planning thing, so planning permission. Like the unit we're looking at is fit for purpose for us, but we were looking at another site. I think I mentioned on the podcast, a farm, and it didn't have the full planning consent for some of the use that they were using it for. So the business that was on that site had been operating there effectively kind of like not fully legit. So you could probably do a certificate of lawful use, but again, you've got to do it beforehand. Another little thing on that site, the farmhouse was a EPC F and F. And they were like, the bank were like, we can't lend on it unless it's an E. So you'll have to do like post-completion works where you've got to put a heat pump in, which will cost you 25 grand, to just keep it nice and green and eco-friendly and all the rest of it, because that's the bank's policy. But these sites, like but the thing with the planning, like, so if you wanted to take that risk on, you buy it, and then you've got to put planning permission for permission to use it in the way that it has been used for a while, and then it gets rejected. So it's like planning is another big problem. The valuation office. Have you had any interactions with the valuation office?
Only a little, like web form to get a property rated. I haven't heard a lot from them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're pretty useless. Well, they're a government organisation, aren't they? So they'd be inefficient.
Yeah.
Turning up, clocking in, clocking out, quite quitting, all that malarkey.
Yeah.
Just my view. But like those guys, again, it's like it's another cost. We've spoken about business rates, but the valuation office obviously set that, and then but they will value a property based on like what are the rental yields of the area surrounding with the information they've got, and some of it's out of date. So.
Very out of date up until very recently as well, right?
I just don't think we're incentivized to rent or buy, and then the ones that we can rent or buy have got problems with them. That's my point. So you've got the planning system, which is
it's tough, mate, real tough.
My opinion. I mean, like if you wanted to open say in your space where you are, I suspect it's probably just warehouse space, your main one.
Yep.
Well, if you wanted to open a tradie orientated workwear store, hypothetically, and do loads of marketing around that, which would be a pretty cool and interesting thing perhaps in the future, you'd have to put planning permission in that for retail space. So it's like, so you've got an asset that you've bought or you're renting, and then it's like all these additional steps, these
Red
barriers,
tape, bureaucracy.
Yeah,
it's tough. Yeah, it's really tough. But finding the space is the tough bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, agents. I've
go on and on, couldn't we?
Oh my god! I mean, just to touch on my experience with agents, finding good agents is a challenge. I mean, I spoke to a very reputable one in my local area. I won't name them, but had a good conversation with the chap on the phone. I was like, listen, I can send you proof of funds, but we're basically looking for this type of space. This is what we're after. What have you got available? Well, we've got a couple of things, mate. I'll have a think and come back to you. Didn't hear anything from him. So it's like, so then followed up with him. He's like, oh yeah, Matt, yeah, no, yeah, I'm gonna add you to the system, and we'll send you some emails if we see anything. It's like these organisations, they're just like lackluster.
Yeah.
Like,
but when agents are picking up service charges and service fees for management and stuff, you know, there's already a level of income there that's secure and easy, and, well, from my point of view, completely and utterly pointless. And then, you know, there's not that urge, is there, to go and to do more for you than what is just a Billy basic level of service.
Well, it made me think, God, I want to set up a commercial property business, because it's not regulated. They're not surveyors. They're estate agents, basically. So yeah, I'm pretty skeptical of that whole game. And there's all kinds of stories I could tell you have come. But you've got to be wary of those guys. I think the key thing for people that are thinking of buying or renting is have lots of conversations with other business owners, but also speak to agents.
Absolutely.
Go and look at lots of different properties as well. That's something that I've spent a lot of time doing. And I mean, I think the first thing is you need to have a good, well-run business that is stable, and you've got good people around you, which takes time to do. And that's what I spent a long time doing. So then now it's like, right, I need a good property. So then my focus switches from the day-to-day to that. And you've got to become a bit of an expert at it, really.
Yeah.
So if anyone listening wants to know about commercial property or is thinking of thinking they might need some help, reach out to me, because I can definitely give you some support. So yeah. What about you're looking for a new space?
Yeah, we're currently talking to somebody about some additional space.
Yeah, and like
hard graft negotiating. Yeah,
send them to me. I'll deal with them.
Yeah, you've been a great help in the negotiation process so far, Matthew.
Bless you. Well, they want to have your pants down.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. Oh god, yeah. You jump through hoops. Yeah, back and forth. They want everything off you. Like I say, they want the shirt off your back for the privilege of having this space from me that isn't occupied by anybody at the moment. And it's like, oh my God, literally. If two people can just work together and help each other out, then actually it'd be mutually beneficial for everybody, not just one party.
I mean, interestingly, I don't think there's a tremendous amount of commercial property stock out there.
No.
But actually the demand and the speed at which the pace of things are moving is slow, because people are sat in a space and they're like, we don't want to take on the additional cost.
Yes, it's additional risk and additional cost, 100%.
So things are slower. So actually, if you are in an urgent need to move to rent or buy, you're actually in quite a strong negotiating position, I think. So we've negotiated a good deal on this property, but I think from a rental perspective as well, especially, I mean, office space, like in the South Manchester area, there's so many empty properties now. There's a firm called MBRE, Michael Blackshaw, that I highly rate. I think he's a cracking bloke. Maybe at some point we'll get him on the podcast. That'd be a good one. Although he'd probably want to just meet for a pint in the pub. That's the type of chap he is. He's a good lad. Doesn't like the government. I think he's been... Yeah, he's had some beef with them, some beef with HMRC and what have you over the years. But like, he's got a lot of things on his books now, and things are slowing down. And he's like, well, this is what happens when you make it hard for people to do business.
Yeah, 100%.
Got anything else to add, chap?
No, mate.
What do you reckon?
No, No, nothing further to me for me. It's, we always kind of identify these issues, don't we, and these things that make things challenging. I think it just adds to the stack, doesn't it? Like there's an awful lot that makes it challenging. I think this one's a big one. I think it's one that it could either make or break you, depending on whether or not you get it right or wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big one. Is it is a danger. It's a huge opportunity, but it's a massive danger.
I think right now businesses need to be cautious of moving to.
Well, they are, aren't they? I think they are. I think because with everything that's going on,
it's hard to grow your business. I mean, maybe the strategy is to grow your way out of problems. I think that's definitely but it's a risky one. So people are probably quite cautious about taking on additional space unnecessarily. But I think for me, I think sit tight if you can trade through.
Yeah.
At least until things are. I'm not talking to you, but just in general.
No. I got that message loud and clear.
I think you should fucking go for it, mate. Like,
yeah, go for it. And I think just to flip on that one, I think if you're looking at taking on additional space, you need to make sure that you're going in it to grow, and it needs to become a revenue generator as opposed to just an additional overhead. Because we can all move into a bigger space and fill it with shit. But can we move into a bigger space and actually make sure it works for us to generate more revenue and more profit? I think that's the important thing, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
that's in my mindset at the moment. Is that how do I, if I take on more space, how does it grow it? How does it make more money? How does it do it? That's what it's got to do, as opposed to just being something that makes it easier for us to move around day to day at the additional cost of 20-something grand a year.
I've just been on this peer-to-peer networking call this morning with Roundtable. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. A guy called Callum runs it. Nice guy. I joined in January, so I'm doing it a couple of months. Mm-hmm. You do a couple of calls a month. But you just go on and you tell them about things that you're working on or challenges. And I said exactly that. Kind of like, ultimately, for me, like, you've got to sweat the asset. So I'm looking at this warehouse. We can afford to do it. We've got the funds to do it. It would be perfect for our existing businesses. But then, like, the directors, rightfully so, are going, because it's my job, I need to be challenged. They're saying, right, well, how are we going to sweat the asset? Is there anything else we can do? Like, if we don't use the space, what are we going to use it for? So, like, we're looking at setting up maybe a 3PL, so third-party logistics, maybe offering short-term storage for other business. So, say you've got autumnal, so like seasonal palletized stock that you need storing somewhere. Well, we can store that for you on a pallet fee basis and things like that.
So good shout.
You've got to look at
have that,
yeah. Or like subletting space, or maybe we do co-working from it as well, because it's like on the edge of a trail, like it backs the industrial estate backs onto like a trail where people walk down. It's connected to a lot of housing estates. So I'm thinking, well, maybe we can get some spare desks in there and we can do co-working for people. But it's like a green co-working space where you have to walk. You're not allowed to drive. Stuff like
cool,
that.
Isn't it? There's loads of things you can do in there, but those are the same sorts of conversations that we've been having. Is that is there another revenue stream that we could utilize that we don't currently do? How do we make it work? Should we not be able to just put more machines on there to start producing more workwear? I think that's what's really important. It's all right having it as like an inbound stock area or a holding area, but then it is just a cost. We need to make it work. It needs to drive revenue. It can't just be another addition to the overhead, which already kills us.
So, ChatGPT question of the week. Charlie, how would you fix the UK's commercial property problem, specifically the shortage of warehouses and industrial units? I know the answer to this.
You know the answer? What, apart from build more?
It's not build more.
What, the answer to fixing how many we need to get more?
Well, the answer is you need to build more, but how do you make that happen?
Well, can you not just go down and sort the local councils out and just whip out the plan and just give them a beat or something?
What? Just fill them in, basically.
Yeah, I mean, lots of it at the moment comes from private. You do like a development, and then certain amount of land is then attributed to X, doesn't it? But the problem you've got with that is then you've got like private builders building these warehouses, and then they all do this thing where they turn around to you and they say, "Well, I can't build it for that, mate. The only way, I can't build it. If we go sell it, we can't sell it for what we build it for and all that jazz." So, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. What's your answer, Matt?
I would look to stimulate the SME market. I'd put turnover tax breaks in for small businesses, and I would look to remove stamp duty entirely for you, because it's tiered at the moment, but I think the tiers need moving.
What, to get people to buy them?
To buy them and rent them, because you pay like, I think it's some kind of stamp duty on long-term leases over 7 years now as well. But I would basically deregulate, and I wouldn't stimulate necessarily the building market, but I would create more demand by deregulating and making it easier for business in general. So lowering taxes, lowering corp tax. That's what I would do, and I think it would incentivize business owners to reinvest and do more. So I think the problem doesn't lie in the supply and creating more supply. I think even if there was more supply right now, businesses would still be worried about moving.
Yeah.
So I think the problem again goes back to businesses and how businesses are being treated. I would look to incentivize those business owners to take the risk and sign a lease and buy a freehold.
Look at that.
Bold.
Matt Holland for Prime Minister. Or local planning agent.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, right.
Councillor Matt.
Shall I see you next week then, mate?
Yeah, I love this. So please book me in for another.
What do you reckon, guys? Do you think we should, Uno switcho, or should we retain Charlie? What do you reckon?
Oh, hopefully everyone says retain. I do quite enjoy it.
I think you're lovely. I think you're a lovely chap.
Cheers, pal. I think you're lovely too.
I think one of the interesting things is you've got a very different perspective on a lot of things that there was something where I started like fucking making sweeping statements on last week's episode about, I think it was like public services, and you called me out about the NHS, and it was good. And I think I actually articulated myself better because you challenged me.
Yeah, he did all right, mate, in the end. I think you were talking about public services and you were like, still get their money.
Which they fucking do, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway.
Right. See you on the next one.
See you on the next one, guys.
Cheerio.